into our next deck here this evening. This deck plays one of what is my favorite package in Runeterra right now with Leona. Leona is based around the Daybreak mechanic that says these cards get a bonus if they are the first card you've played in a round. Leona's Daybreak stuns something, and then she levels when you've activated Daybreak 4+ times. And notably, Leona doesn't have to see you activate these Daybreak triggers, so she's leveling incidentally while she's in your deck, and with your most aggressive draws, you can actually play leveled Leona on turn 4 if you play Daybreak cards 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So Leona's leveled mode stuns something every time you trigger Daybreak, which is important with our Always Sunny in Runeterra here, the Daylight Spear, which says it's always day, which this paired with Leona and multiple Daybreak cards means that you can stun multiple things per turn. The second half of this deck, or what we're pairing with our Daybreak package here today, because there's lots of different things you can pair with this Daybreak package, is some Noxious cards. So what Noxious gives us in this deck is twofold. First, at the bottom end of our curve, it gives us things like Flock, House Spider, Culling Strike, and Death's Hand to help us be interactive and not die to aggressive decks. And then at the top end of our curve, it also gives us one of the most powerful closing engines in the game, which is Leviathan, which deals damage every single turn, in conjunction with Swain, the champion that it draws. Now, one thing that's very different about this deck being a Swain deck compared to a lot of Swain decks in the format is that this deck doesn't level Swain super quickly, and this explicitly is why you'll notice that we only have 2 copies of Swain in the deck, because generally speaking, Leviathan is going to be helping us level Swain, so we often don't want to draw Swain until we have Leviathan, so we want to lean on Leviathan as our primary means of picking Swain out of our deck. And then we've got a copy of Darius here as a cheeky 6th champion, since we can play a 6th champion, just another way to help us close games out, as well as some Captain Farron here from additional closing power at the top end of the curve. Let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this and see how it goes. Frenzied Mage, thank you for the 34 months of Prime. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Picking comments based on content or at random? At random, hottest foe. Opponent is playing Ash Nocturne. Huh. Well, I have no idea what this is. I'm going to keep these 2 for Daybreaks and then try to find some of our other Daybreak cards. Sweet. We have a Leona here. Oh, I didn't mention the Zenith Blade. The Zenith Blade is super fun in this deck because Zenith Blade gives Swain Overwhelm, which means they can't chump block him to deny his trigger, which is sweet. Someone asked about Fervor 4. Fervor's just an okay piece of removal that actually pairs very well with this giving itself extra toughness for a turn, but notably the thing Fervor does is Fervor is 6 of the 12 points of damage you need to level Swain. And this deck kind of has a difficulty level leveling Swain quickly, so having a single card that does half of his level up is really nice. Our 3 cards that really help us level Swain are the Noxian Fervors, the 2/7 Troll that deals damage to itself to heal you, and then Leviathan. Steels and Steel Hooves, thanks for the follows. Welcome to the channel.
My faith protects me.
Here we have that turn 4 Leona level, like we talked about in the intro.
Bask in the light's radiance.
This is a donation submission, like a lot of the decks that we play on stream. Multiple.
Devotion through battle.
Stay back.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of universally true across card games is people will take dumps on cards they shouldn't take dumps on during spoiler seasons, and then more importantly, they'll forget that they shouldn't be quick to judge cards immediately the following spoiler season and immediately start doing it again. It's not hot or sexy or clickbaity to say the words, "We should wait and see what this card's going to do." And people would much rather just jump to conclusions right away. Well, that's some shit. Our lizard brain seed clickbait. I mean, you're not wrong.
Witness strength.
They have a Pale Cascade here. I'm going to be in a lot of trouble.
Their time has come.
Alright, no Pale Cascade at least. So Swain lives, so maybe we got a shot. Oh, they can't have Pale. You're super, right? You're super D-duper, right? Sorry, I'm not used to. I'm just used to that passively being what they pair it with. Good correction. Huh? Meteor Shower kills both of their champions? I think that's the take. Opponent's Brew is really sweet, by the way. I am into what they are doing. Actually, I just used this here, right? That's the play. Till you get got by a Pale Cascade for Unspeakable Words, yep. Ash Harrowing's probably super reasonable. I think one thing people do too often in Runeterra is that, unlike a lot of other card games, Runeterra doesn't render things largely unplayable with rebalances and new cards being added to the card pool. So people far too often fail to go back to older decks that are still reasonable just because they're not new and shiny anymore.
Revenge or perish.
Play something with 3 or 4 toughness so I can kill it in your new beast and level my Swain. Meteor Shower also incidentally leveling Swain, which is nice. Leveled Swain with Overwhelm is delish. Yeah, Hoosier, and that's honestly, you know, like, one of the reasons why Runeterra has such a balanced format is because the power level difference between the tier 1 decks and the tier 2 decks is so very close, right? And to make up arbitrary numbers, in a lot of other card games, the tier 1, tier 2 power difference is, you know, 15, 20% even sometimes, whereas in Runeterra it's much closer to like single digits. I got super confused when Swain did board wipe, but he was not quite leveled yet. So do I want Golden Sister, or do I want Traveler for more card advantage? I feel like this game's not going to last towards more card advantage. I also don't really need the life, though. I'm going to take the Traveler.
Daylight warms the heart and lights the way.
Traveler means I can do this plus Traveler this turn, which is nice. See, chat, we get to have our cake and eat it too.
Travelers onward.
Okay, so now we're going to do this, and then, oh, I can't kill it with Flock. That's awkward. Oh, you know what I could have done? I could have Noxian Fervored their dome to stun this. I wasn't thinking about that. No blocks here is probably bad. No, Swain only stuns backward units.
What once was two, now is one.
Yeah, Swain would be more absurd than the format staple he already is if you could stun front row things.
It is time.
I'm gonna call this, keep my lifelink around. Let's just kill this now. That's a good observation, Cody. The 1-2s have value attacking because of the flock. Yeah, I like that. I think you're correct. Excuse me? Sure. Man, that's a combo. That's a combo with Nocturne. That's sick. Opponent's deck's gasoline. It's got some really, really neat ideas going on.
Witness true strength. Mine is the hand of Noxus.
We're gonna bury him with this Darius here, but they have some neat ideas.
Open your eyes.
Deadly paths, just another day in Targa. Stand back.
Devotion through battle.
That card levels Ash too, basically, right? Hey, what's going on, Steel Hooves? Welcome to Hooglandia. Yeah, Bricky's video was great. And that really, honestly, Bricky's video, like, a lot of people talk about Runeterra coming from the perspective of other card games, but I really think Runeterra, as it grows more and gets more advertising and more eyes on it eventually, it has a really unique position that other card games haven't really had, with League of Legends being this beast in the video game space that it is. I feel like Runeterra has the potential to appeal to non-card game people in a way other card games just haven't been able to before. So I think we're mulliganing the Zenith Blade here. Opponent is playing Misfortune Gangplank, which is almost assuredly an aggressive deck. House Spider pairs very well with Ravenous Flock to get something damaged, and then Broadback Protector here lets us heal back up a little bit, so pretty happy with all of these. Nice, Niv.
Raise your weapons, son.
So we'll play this out, and then I assume they're just gonna pass. Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say that a card game can create a feel and manage lore in a way that a MOBA like League of Legends just never could. Like, you can tell stories with cards in a way you just can't with the type of game that League of Legends is. So I definitely think from the point of view of a story medium, Runeterra definitely does a lot of things that they just can't with the other product. It's easily the most gorgeous card game I've ever played. Yeah. And like, not only does it look good, I think Bricky in his video commented that Runeterra runs on a toaster, and like, that's definitely the truth. Like, it's amazing that this game, in my opinion, looks better than a lot of the other digital offerings out there, and it runs on worse systems than they do for the most part, in terms of resources needed. I think we just killed this here. This deal 2 doesn't line up into Misfortune or a lot of their bigger things anyway, so just using it to keep my life total high here sounds good.
There's plenty of killing.
Skarner is not. There are a lot of champions waiting to be added to Runeterra still.
I make shepherding look easy.
I think we just pass here. I don't really want to attack into their 3/3s anyways.
I'll protect you.
Runeterra, in my opinion, Kid's Path, has the highest level of player agency of any card game I've ever touched. For people that aren't familiar with the genre and don't know what I'm referring to when I say it, player agency refers to how likely your decisions that you make in the game are to impact the outcome of the game that you're playing. And I think there's a lot of things in Runeterra's core design that allow you to leverage decisions you're making during the game more than a lot of other card games allow. One of those is the fact that both players are playing every turn. Another one of those things is the fact that both players draw a card every turn as well. So if players have more cards in their hands more often, it means that they're more likely to have permutations and decisions to make as well while they're playing. Etane, thanks for the follow. Welcome to Hoaglandia. I think we're just banking spell mana here, depending on what they do.
There's plenty of killing there.
We're just telling this to get flocked. Don't hold on to it. The downside to player agency is that when I'm stuck on a losing streak, I have to admit I'm just dumb. You know, I would assume part of you is saying that as a joke, but there's some real truth to a statement like that. Games, for as much as, to talk about Magic for a second, because I played a ton of Magic, as much as Magic players complain about resource variance in that game, a big part of what makes Magic a popular game is that Magic has more variance than almost any other card game out there because a significant number of games you just don't get to play because of the mana system. And it's very ego protecting to be able to just be like, I didn't make any mistakes, I just couldn't play, I flooded and died, or I stumbled and died, even if that wasn't the case. And there's something to be said about your card game having a built-in easy scapegoat, other than having to have the very real self-reflection of, oh no, I lost because I was bad. I think we're just passing here. I don't have any real reason to attack in.
I'll protect you.
I'd like to prefix this with, I have no personal attachment or love for Hearthstone personally, but I actually think Hearthstone gets a very bad rap for the amount of variance that it contains. I actually think Hearthstone has a lot less variance than a lot of players would make it out to be. But I also think the fact that the word random is attached to cards in Hearthstone as often as it is gives players outs to blame the variance, similar to how players blame it in games like Magic. So this Noxian Fervor actually levels the Swain. So if I play this Swain out here, next turn I could Zenith Blade him, and then Noxian Fervor to get him leveled, and then attack with the leveled Swain with Overwhelm, which sounds like gasoline.
This doesn't change a damn thing between us.
If you insist.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jeffries. And that's an important thing too when it comes to game design is games. games having variance is a good thing. But the reason to play a card game over a game like chess is because variance is fun. Variety in gameplay patterns is good, but at the same time, where that variance comes from and how it feels when it plays out is also very important. Oh yeah, completely agree, Genesis. Hearthstone's monetization model is dog poop. I actually don't mind Hearthstone's gameplay. I think it's fine, but their gameplay's only fine and their monetization is garbage. Yeah, I think I'm okay with them killing this, right? I'm gonna go ahead and Noxian Fervor here in response. Yeah, we definitely want to flip Swain before we hit them this turn. 100%. The music on this board is very good. They did a very good job of making the music on this board feel chipper without making it feel like a Christmas carol, which is a nice mix. Huh.
Patience is a tactician's greatest tool. Merely pawns in a greater game. Shed a tear. Such little love. Victory awaits. We are at war. Troyan won't do any good.
Came a long way for a bullet.
They should thank you for the
They could have a second gangplank here. We're going to hit them for a good chunk, which is nice, though. They're down to 4, and I still have this in hand, and we're at 20, so should be in a pretty okay spot here.
history will remember us.
Nah, Protect's got a sword. Believe it or not, I give people that have previously given me money more bandwidth than asking silly questions, even if they should know better. Even if they literally just typed a command that told them the answer to the question that they asked. Zed, Lulu, Target Splash. Okay, so Death's Hand sounds great. These are all probably fine, honestly. To play this on 1 and attack for 3. Neither of these champions block very well, so there's a chance if we have a somewhat aggressive start here, we could run them out of the game. So if we have a little bit of interaction here with Death's Hand. And Genesis, just to be blunt, if you're still here, if my financial situation permits, I don't intend to ever touch Magic the Gathering again. I'm much happier playing other games made by other companies. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Thrin. Thanks for the 3rd year. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Hope you're staying safe out there. To be fair, paper magic is basically who can cheat the hardest, so, you know, having sleight of hand tricks for that's probably useful. Thanks, Steel. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. For reference, my channel's been partnered for almost 6 years now. Maybe it's been 6 years. I think it's been 6 years, 5 years. Is it 5 years? 60 months is 5 years. We've partnered for 5 years. I've been streaming for close to 8. Been doing this a while. And before doing this, I was a teacher. I have a master's degree in mathematics with a minor in education. So this is a lot like teaching to a lecture hall with a couple hundred people, which I've done on more than one occasion. So they're gonna smack us for... No, they're not. I'm kind of surprised they didn't attack with these. Just opening on attacks here. Getting this 1-2 down with the downside of them playing a 3-mana thing that can block us doesn't seem very good. I think we just start like this.
This one's trouble.
Zoom is just Twitch, but with a boring game. Well, how frequent was cheating in paper magic? I mean, we literally just can't know the answer to that question, right? We can tell you how often people cheating at paper magic got caught, but the people that were good at cheating don't get caught, right? Cheating in paper card games is basically like stealing money, where the penalty if you get caught isn't prison, it's getting banned from playing that children's card game. Kaijin, thanks for the follow. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Yeah, marked Strahd lands. Alright, so do we want a Solari Priestess and go fishing for interaction for the board? I think I'd rather Broadback Protector here, because Broadback Protector is going to start self-damaging to heal us back up, which will get Swain leveling, which is nice, and Swain plus Zenith Blade's a way to end the game, which would be ideal. These seem good for us. They're not Demacia, right? So it's not like there's a Rangers result coming to mess me up here. I'm gonna play Solari Priestess this turn. Falling Comet sounds nice in case they play a bomb.
The order rewards its faithful.
In a perfect world, yes, Protec, you're not wrong. I do also enjoy having a place to live and feeding my kids, though, so there's definitely a financial incentive component to the content I make as well, though.
I'll protect you.
So far, if I'm being honest, though, you know, we're still staying above the threshold I set, which is great. So, as long as we stay above 1,500 concurrent subscribers on the channel, I plan to stick to Runeterra as my primary content. Game's great, and it is what I would prefer to make, metrics permitting. Culling Strike's a great pickup here. This kills both of their champions.
Stay safe. I'll take it from here.
I think we're just gonna kill this, huh? I guess the downside is if I Culling Strike this and they Pale Cascade me, I get kind of savaged. I guess I can block still. It's good. This could get punished. We're at 19. I think even if they have it here, we can chump block the squirrel and then be in an okay spot. Now I think I'd prefer streaming Magic the Gathering again to doing sexy chat sessions. Nah, it doesn't make sense for a streamer of my size to stream a game like Cyberpunk 2077 when it drops Genesis. Nobody on Twitch really scrolls past the first, like, half a dozen people in the game category, so, you know, with the 200 viewers that I have, when I do variety content, I just won't get any new traction. So, I will probably do 2077 a little bit further down the line, but definitely not right at release when everybody's streaming it. Alright, I mean, if they don't have a Hush, this Zenith Blade on the Swain's about to mess them up, huh? My number one tutorial, if you're still learning the game Steel Hoods, is definitely don't only play the tutorial, but also play all of the optional extra levels as well that they give you. They give you a bunch of kind of challenge levels that set up how do you get out of this board state or how do you win from this position type thing, and those will really hammer home the core game concepts very well. Yeah, playing through all the tutorial and the extra levels will hammer home the basics way more than just watching a stream. Well, evening, Mr. Green. Yeah, like, not only are Runeterra's tutorials probably best in the card game industry, they might just be best in the gaming industry, honestly. They're very, very well done. Alright, well, if they don't have a Hush, their whole board dies here. Rats.
Extra hands never hurt.
Okay, these lose Elusive here. I like our archetype a lot. This is one of the many decks that you can find up on my website. You haven't seen this deck before? I have a bunch of good ones up there. All right, so they've got. We're not quite dead to that, right? Because I can Meteor this one, and then we take 8, 11, and I can block these two.
You lack discipline.
Protect each other. Have faith.
Do I just try and push lethal here? Yeah, I have a lot of directions we could go with this game. I could try and push lethal with this, plus the Noxian Fervor. I could play Leviathan to start locking them out. If this hits them, it's going to get to hammer their entire board here. I think I'm gonna play Darius and try and kill them.
Do not disappoint.
Because the problem with playing Leviathan is while it stuns their stuff currently in play, if my opponent has more elusives to play out from hand next turn, that ends up very poorly for us.
Leave them nothing.
If all of these are blanks, they're dead.
Looking for this?
And then they're still dead because of Noxian Fervor, right? Gosh, the eye knows all. So, dealing damage to this means Swain hits them with Overwhelm, which means his trigger connects, which means this levels before damage happens. So again, combat resolves left to right. So the Swain trigger levels the Darius before Darius hits, then Darius kills them.
Our borders grow.
The core gameplay of Runeterra Numbers is the best core card game gameplay I have ever played. The people that made Runeterra looked at every other card game that's ever been made, and they took the good parts and they left all the bad parts at home. They've definitely built on the experience of all the games that have come before them. Hey, good games, Niv. Good luck in the rest of your laddering tonight. Kenobi, thank you for the 17 months. Really appreciate the prime. Welcome back. Zebo, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Alright, so, Mono Elise, Noxious Shadow Isles. This is almost assuredly the burn aggro deck. Solari Shieldbearer is stellar. Broadback Protector's probably our best card in the deck in this game, in this matchup. And Death Sand's a little bit slow, but I think we're going to keep it. That's fine. How do you get cards? You can buy cards outright for dollars. For example, buying the deck that I'm currently playing outright costs about 30 USD. You could also free to play for a variety of cards by just playing games with either the AI or other people in the client and the various queues that they have. No, thank you for the prime support. There's a lot of great people who can ship that to every single month here on Twitch. Thanks for sending it my way this month and keeping me employed. Am I gonna pass? Am I gonna pass? No, I'm gonna play the house plan. Card chop. Is that the rip it or flip it or whatever the kids do when they tear cards up while they open packs? If they don't open attacks here, I get to drop my Solari Shieldbearer with her toughness. Thanks, Kid Paths. I appreciate that. And if you're someone who is a sub, whether you're a gifted sub or any other kind, Prime or anything like that, make sure you pop in the Discord as well. It's a great channel. We have things to talk about. Runeterra, gaming in general, life, politics, all that jazz. Got a really great community there. Probably not, Number. You know, if I'm being honest, until I found Runeterra, I didn't think there would ever be another card game that came as good as Hex, and I honestly think Runeterra is just a better game than what Hex was. Hex definitely had a lot of innovations at the time, but its client was only okay software, and its core gameplay still has a lot of the same issues that Magic does.
Our mountain roads are full of dangers, but I know them all.
And like here, like my opponent's playing a burn aggressive deck, and we're going to be at 20 life going into their 5th turn, which is a very, very good spot for us. So this is going to go to 4 toughness and heal us back up to 20. If my opponent, I get, like, opening attacks isn't even really good for them here. Also, while I think Runeterra definitely is on an upward trend and will likely grow from the spot that it's currently in now, I don't ever expect to be a millionaire streaming Runeterra, nor do I need to be. I enjoy my rather comfortable life in the cornfields. It's a nice place to be. Can we just put this here? And then we can Death Sand this Storko. Again, for people that are new, what I keep doing as I look at the side here, this eye, when you mouse over it, tells you what's going to happen as the board plays out. So for example, you can see I'm currently going to 16 and all those things are dying. If I pull this back, I can see I'm going to 14 and one of their other things in the middle is living. So the eye can kind of update you on how things are going to go as you block in different spots or make different decisions here. I think I'm happy with this decision. We're going to take 1 from this, 1 from this, and then 2 from these triggers here. We're trying to kill this. That's fine, right? I have another Redback Protector in hand. Yeah, honestly, the eye is probably one of the single most innovative things about Runeterra. It makes the game really new player friendly because it helps them understand how the games are going to play out and why.
Everyone here, let's go.
Close to you to leveling. Not close to leveling yet, but not a big deal either. And like this is the part of the game where we've used our Daybreak and our Broadback Protectors here to just survive the early game, and at this point, we're basically just waiting until we can draw our Leviathans and our Captain Pharaons to be our big over-the-top finishers for our mid-range deck.
Power of the immortal sun.
Just gonna play Leona out as a nice fat bottom here. One could argue she makes the rocket world go round. The eye is this little thing over here that shows you what's going to happen. It shows you how combat's going to play out. It shows you how the stack of cards in the middle will resolve what's going to happen as you play them. Okay, just go ahead and tell this to flock off, huh? Yeah, it's like a preview that tells you if you click OK, everything as it is right now, how things are going to happen. It lets you very quickly make decisions on how to, like, block or not block inside of combat without having to do all of the math mentally. It basically does it. It's like a cheat sheet, essentially. It does it for you. So that way the timer can be aggressive, but you can still make informed decisions because it's giving you lots of good information. Yeah, basically Steel. It's like having a judge accessible is a very good comparison. It's where it's like always being able to ask, okay, if I do this, how does it work out?
Faith protects me.
You recommend using my brain anyways. You're not my real dad. You can't make me.
Don't touch my flock.
Alright, so these are fearsome, so they can only be blocked by things with 3+ attack, and I don't have any of those currently. That being said, this has 4 temporary toughness from its bonus for the round, so I'm going to utilize that 4 temporary toughness to go ahead and blast this out of the way. And again, the eye here telling me that, so I mouse over the eye, and the eye tells me that all of those things with X's over them are about to die if I click OK. I'll go to 13, and then the things on either end will get to live. And you'll even see it shows, like, what stats the thing remaining is going to live with. It shows this losing, it shows this losing too. So, we're going to end the turn, or when the turn ends, this is going to heal us 3 next turn and die, which is fine, so we'll be up to 16. The opponent's archetype doesn't usually play Harrowing, and this was one of the best 5 draws in our deck. Captain Pharaon and Leviathan were the droids we were looking for here in this instance. Our big finishers here. Gangreens, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel.
No one's the wiser.
Crush 'em to dust. We have a spell mana banked, and we're going up to 9 mana next turn, so we'll be able to double decimate next turn. Someone said captain, so I came running. Thank you, Commando. Really appreciate the 2.5 years. Welcome back.
Explosives pride.
Think they played the wrong one? That's ephemeral. I don't think it really mattered. The Broadback was at 3 Landon, so the Broadback was dying next turn regardless. So it was a free block. Yeah, I do wish on the temporary. I wish on the temporary ephemeral cards they would give them like a purple glow or something, similar to how fleeting cards have a green glow. I think that would be really good. Yeah, it should have some kind of hover, some kind of very clear hover over. Honestly, that should show both players. Like, the fleeting green shows both players when a player has a fleeting card in hand. It should just show both players when there's an ephemeral card in hand like that. Pharaon being the Kool-Aid man feels like an apt comparison. He's ready to burst in and do his thing. Sajani, Tryndamere, Noxious. Probably the Overwhelm aggro deck I've seen going around a little bit. I'm definitely mulliganing these Fervors. I don't want those till later, till I have some decent units to pair them with, I don't think. I definitely want to keep Leona against what's likely an aggressively slanted mid-range deck. I think there's merit to mulliganing the Solari Priestess here because I would really like to find my 1 and 2 cost Daybreak units as well as my House Spider to have early plays, but there's also value in just keeping a generic Daybreak unit in general to pair with Leona. They're attacking on odds, which lets them be a little bit more aggressive, so I think I'm going to mulligan aggressively looking for my lower curve things. I think if I was attacking on odds, I would probably keep that 3-drop. For people that are newer to the game, attacking on even versus attacking on odds, that refers to how much mana I have in total when I have this attack token. So for example, this game, I'm attacking second, so I'm going to attack on the turns where I have 2, 4, 6, 8 mana, etc. The turns where I have even total amounts of mana. And how you mulligan and what cards you're keeping in different matchups will sometimes be different depending on which mana cost you're attacking on versus which ones you're defending on.
Devotion to battle.
Am I just taking the pass here? I think I'm just taking the pass here. I'm burning 1 more mana than them. Is there any data on if going first affects the win rate like in other turn-based games? You know, I don't know if we have play draw-based data for Runeterra, but I will say, anecdotally, Runeterra to me feels like it has the least play draw variance of any card game I've ever played. In fact, there are a number of decks, and especially specific hands from certain decks, that prefer to be going second because they'd rather be attacking when you have an even total amount of mana versus not.
I'll protect you.
Yamizuka, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel.
Many tribes under one banner. Well met, outback.
Thunk.
Sunlight blinds.
I would love a falling comet here. Just have the ability to kill a large play here. They're on 6 mana. We could see Sajani this turn, for example. Yeah, I agree, Foodie Wizard. One thing, so the spell mana system in Runeterra, something that it does that's very elegant for the game in general, is it mitigates what I would refer to as curve variance, wherein in all card games, it tends to be very important that you spend your mana every single turn in the game that you're playing, and if you don't spend your mana, you tend to fall behind if your opponent is, and Runeterra letting you bank mana across turns mitigates some of that to a degree. Pass for now. They're burning 1 more mana than me, technically. I guess they have pretty okay open attacks next turn. Fuck. That's a tough one. Alright, well there goes the neighborhood. Let's kill this so they don't have an attack for 10. Reckoning there, if they control a 5-power unit, it kills everything that has 4 or less power, which was most of my board. It did kill one of their things as well, so we've got that going for us. But yeah, wasn't great for the home team, that's for sure. That being said, we are still at 20 or 15 if they attack with this, which is a pretty high life pool to start here. And, like, we're gonna get to Leviathan next turn, which is great. It was technically a 2 for 3, because they had a card on their bench that got killed as well.
Sunlight lies.
Today we fight as one!
Do I want to block here so I can flock this and kill it? I think the answer is yes.
I will protect you.
Next turn, I'm going to have 8 total mana, so I can play Leviathan out, which is great.
Destination in sight!
Only the finest serve.
It is a follower, technically. It comes into play. It has an effect each turn that it sits in play. If my opponent doesn't start the turn by attacking, I get to play a Daybreak unit, which will put us in a very good spot. Even if they do start the turn by attacking, we're still in an okay spot.
From the savage cold. Unyielding light.
So this is a 3/6 here that gets to go ahead and stun this alpha.
Behold the sun's holy light.
You do get a free Epic Wild card if you're one of the many people in the world who has Amazon Prime and you link that to your Runeterra account. If you have Amazon Prime, by the way, and you link it to your Twitch account, you also get Twitch Prime with that for free. So you get you a free sub every single month to a channel of your choice here on Twitch. If you'd like a great way to support my content at no extra cost to yourself, that's a great way to do it. So, Swain coming into play transforms this other Swain into a flock for us, which is great.
You cannot sway me.
How tedious.
Counterattack!
So we're definitely doing that. The question is, do I want to... I think I want to block with this at least here. I guess I've got another one of these in my hand, though. I might just do this and go to 11. I'm gonna do this and go to 11.
After the battle of
I misjudged.
So this is gonna put Swain to 11 out of 12 towards leveling, which means that the boat next turn is going to level and then stun 2 things.
Strike while the planet
I'm gonna pass.
Artillery barrage!
So Swain's leveled mode says every time you deal non-combat damage to the enemy nexus, you stun their strongest back row unit. So both of these get stunned here. I'm gonna go ahead and play Zenith Blade on my Swain to start here, which will trigger Daybreak on the Leona, which will stun something, in addition to giving him Overwhelm and drawing us another Zenith Blade. So this is going to stun this here. Now, my opponent is playing a Freljord deck, so there's a very real chance that they have something like Harsh Winds to fog my attack here. So while my attack looks rather lethal at the moment, there's a good chance it isn't quite lethal as of yet. Pumping Swain with the Blade there to start also means that they have another copy of Reckoning. He gets to dodge that. I should have blocked the Sejani instead of the Yeti. That's a good call. This was not anywhere near leveling. That's a good catch. That was just a mistake on my part.
Down at war. Tread carefully.
So this attack's a little aggressive, but I have a backup Swain in my hand, so I think it's fine.
Indecision is the first of many weaknesses.
So, again, gonna do the trick like we did last game, where dealing damage to this gives it low enough toughness that this can overwhelm on top of it, which means it will get to overwhelm and hit their Nexus, which will then trigger and hit everything else here, which means this dies to Swain's trigger before it gets to hit my Leona. Oh, Swain was dying anyways. That's a good call. So I'm talking and clicking simultaneously. That's another oopsie. That's fine. We're in a good spot. They need. I guess that's not true. They could have if they have culling. If they have another reckoning here, they get to savage us because they made this only have 3 points of attack.
Few are in the right to
Okay.
call themselves
Well, now we know they can't play reckoning this turn. So
To see what
here's a
others
Swain.
cannot.
So Boat's gonna deal 1 3 times to them, which means this is gonna stun, this is gonna stun, this is gonna stun, and they're gonna go to 1. Now this'll stun, this'll stun, this'll stun. So this notably deals 1 3 separate times as opposed to dealing 3 once, which is extra good with our champion here.
Warriors of the Raharat, our time is now.
Our time is now.
I'll show you how it's done. Try to leave a dent.
Remember, all we have to do is pass here. They're dead. They're dead to this at the start of turn. So they need to do something to this, or they're dead.
Warm huts and hot soups.
Or they could do that, I guess, and be annoying. Yep, let's suit up Swain here.
Deadly paths, just
Gain
another
a little bit of life. So, strongest breaks ties based on toughness and then health. So this'll stun and then this'll stun here. So you have really good open attacks here. Death's Hand, also lethal. Leave them nothing.
Show them our teeth.
Donut Man, welcome to the channel.
Such
Lovecraft Legacy, thanks for the follow.
the Noctora.
This one's been good, huh? Been a solid set so far. It's definitely partially due to the smaller new game card pool. I mean, so to a degree, Foodie Wizard, traditionally speaking, smaller card pools means deck building is less interesting a lot of the times. I think it's a testament to like how Runeterra is designed as a game at its core, that the deck building is as good as it is right now, given how small the card pool is. In fact, my one thing that, like, if you ask me, Jeff, what's the one thing that needs to be improved with Runeterra, it's the size of the card pool, and that's something that they're releasing new cards every 2 months. Our next card drop's happening in like 2 weeks or so from now. Whenever we get that announcement, like, they're working on that. I'm really excited to see what this game's gonna look like, you know, at this time next year when we have 2 more regions in the game and another, you know, 200 cards or so. It's gonna be really, really great, I think. All right, so. Mono, Anivia, Freljord, Shadow Isles, Control. We are the beatdown in this matchup. I am mulliganing all of my interaction, hoping to land into some units here. So we can attack.
My faith protects me.
Yeah, I think Bricky's video, lots of, especially things like Bricky's video. Like, Bricky's got a big audience, and organic endorsements like that aren't sponsored are the best advertisements possible for the game, right? Like, people who could get paid plenty of money to make content about a game just being like, this game's great and I want to make content for it is an incredible endorsement. To be fair, Nanich, they weren't the Frostbite deck. They were the new Overwhelm variation that's going around. They were Sejani Tryndamere, as opposed to Sejani Ash, a little bit different. Have a good one, Steve. If you want to catch up on anything you missed tomorrow, check out my YouTube channel as well. Everything I stream ends up there.
The power of the immortal sun.
It's Leona here. Stun this and get an attack in. They are an Avalanche deck, but if they want to Avalanche, I still hit them for 3, so I think that's fine. This Day Spear gets to level Leona next turn, which is nice.
Unwavering strength.
Is Ash Sejani a good deck to invest in? Yeah, I think that archetype's super reasonable. That's a deck that's been a competitive archetype since I started playing Runeterra 6 months ago. One of the things that's great about Runeterra is, like, your decks, even if they go up or down a little bit in power level, they basically never get rendered unplayable if you're picking up a deck that's competitive right now. There's just so many different things you can be doing at any given point in this game. Crack Hoven, welcome to the channel. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, that's also true. It's a good budget deck, a deck that's cheaper than some others to build too, because you get 2 ashes for free in your 7-day login reward.
Our sun will not set today.
Behold the divine power of the sun.
So this levels this. So, notable here, my opponent is playing Shadow Isles Control. Shadow Isles Control means they have a 9-mana slow spell called Ruination that destroys all units in play. So while I could play this Sun Guardian out to stun my opponent's thing and have a giant attack, there is an incredibly likely chance that my opponent would then destroy all units in play before I ever got a chance to attack. So I'm going to just start the turn by attacking here as opposed to trying to add more pressure to the board first. So there's a real give and take in Runeterra between my things can attack the turn I play them, but if I play things to attack first, my opponent's going to have a chance to do things. Do I want to spend 3 cards to kill this? I think I do. These cards aren't getting much better, so... They're playing Glimpse Beyond in their deck. Huh. That is not a card I was playing around. I think it ends up the same even if I'm thinking about it, but it just really was one that wasn't on my mind.
Then found hope.
Then found hope.
sacred garden fueled by holy light. Glorious light rains down.
I'm going to play Solari Soldier out here too, because I'm going to open attacks next turn. I want to hit them for as much as possible. Dealing a ton of damage on my open attacks next turn is ideal, because I want to get them low, so Captain Pharaon's Decimates can end this.
Unwavering strength.
So again, starting the turn by attacking as opposed to playing this out, because they notably have 9 mana available to them, and want to play around that sweeper effect. So, opponent electing not to preserve their life total with that spell there, which is very good for us. Ready to break the siege, chat. This game's been a stellar example of the kind of control and player agency that you have against these control decks. Really good tension here back and forth as I play around their sweeper effects. And then because I was playing around their sweeper effect that entire game, they never had a good opportunity to play it, and then by the time they eventually could play it, it wasn't good for them. The Ruination into Concede combo. They are in fact a combo deck. Hey, thanks for the 32 months, Night Stars. There is a great archive and highlight from the Pokemon this morning. It was a lot of fun again. Definitely going to bring Pokemon VGC back again next week. It's been a good time. Carter was excellent again today as well. Sky Limits, thanks for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people. You can ship those Basil bucks to every single month here on Twitch. Thanks for sending them my way this month and keeping me employed. Easy Karma Control. So, opponent's archetype is a combo control deck. So we're generally the beatdown here again. Important differentiation between this matchup and the previous one that we just played is that in this matchup, they don't have a sweeper. Definitely mulliganing the Broadback Protector, keeping the House Spider. There could be merit to keeping the Culling Strike because it kills an early Ezreal. I think I'm going to hold on to that. Would I use a screen capture the switch? I use a capture card. I actually bought just like a really cheap capture card off of Amazon. It was like less than $100 than its USB 3.0, and it's the one I'm still using because it just works really well. Capture cards get very expensive in options and features. I've been very happy with the cheap one that I have. That's true. According to coviddate.net, it is currently March 277th. So, I think I just take the Traveler here. I think I just want as much card advantage as possible as we go along here. I have an answer to an Ezreal, so I want to just make sure I don't get outvalued by their card advantage.
Looks like I'm ready. Bye-bye.
Wait, it's March? Always has been. It's a quality meme. My one attack unit's not particularly stellar into their fortune with lifesteal.
With purpose.
Easy jump here, I think. They're not attacking into this anyways. Don't mind clearing up bench space. Yo, dog, I heard you like invoke cards, so I got you invoke cards that invoke more cards. Why not block with the 2/2? Because I didn't really want to trade this for this when they have the 4-2 in play. I'd much rather trade 2 1/1s for this over the course of a couple turns. And they're electing not to block here because they want to hold my 1 power things at bay with this. It's a good pickup. Can blast our way through this. So anyways, I started blasting. Huh. Do I take the Moon Sliver so I can Captain Pharaon next turn? That might be a meme, but it sounds like a funny meme.
Ionia speaks through me.
Well, that's just rude. Diana would cry if she saw this line. Yep.
Even at war, you remain so calm.
Would panicking help, brother?
You're strange.
You're strange. Think I'm using this Hush as a deal 4 here, huh? Just wipe the lifelink right off of this idiot. I have Culling Strike here to deal with an Ezreal, so I don't really need to save the Hutch to deal with that, I don't think. He's also only halfway to leveling up.
For a true display of skill.
This deck's great.
Sounds dangerous. I'm in.
It's been doing really well. Hanes. There's a variation of this up on my website that's a little bit bigger with Oriensol in it, but I've really liked the Captain Pharaons. They've been impressive so far tonight. I think there's a chance that I swap the build on the site to what this one is doing. Karma spell on 8 mana. Is that desperation I smell?
The enemies of day will fall.
No, not the clap.
What is gained?
No, I don't think so, Bushoes.
Destination in sight.
That get excited there was the reason why I targeted Pharaon with our fervor as opposed to one of my things with less toughness. I didn't want them to be able to kill it with damage and response. Why not bank for double decimate? No, questions are great. If I didn't want questions, I would just post YouTube videos. Love interacting with chat. The reason to not bank for double decimate is because I'm setting up my play to be Leviathan the following turn, because my opponent's deck has a lot of things like Deny in it to potentially do stuff to stop me from killing them that way. So I'd rather get set up to try and kill them in combat. When I order my attackers here, I'm going to order the 3-2 last, because this is the thing they want to block the Dragonling with the most. So I want to put this in the last spot, so that way they have to survive all 4 of these attacks before they get to lifelink here. Because remember, if they die on this attack before they get to gain life here, they lose the game. It doesn't matter if this gets them back above 0.
I see you there. The dragon binds us.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so they're ending up at 10 here, but Leviathan's going to hit them for 3, which means they're dead to double decimate next turn. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Coley. Thanks for dropping in tonight.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Another great way to pick my brain and the community's brain with questions, in addition to the contest giveaway for posting stuff on YouTube. I also read all the YouTube comments, and I try to answer questions there as well, so if you ever have questions, it's a great way to get in touch with me. Huh. We have six life gain here, huh? Play Solari Soldier here first, because it gets the +1/+1. I think I want to Swain into Decimate this turn, because the Decimate will level the Swain. And if I level the Swain, I then get to have this stun their stuff next turn. I'm going to block with this rather than blocking with this, because most of my opponent's removal is damage-based, so not letting damage get marked on this makes it much more difficult for my opponent to kill it. I'm going to Decimate before I Swain here, so that way they don't know that this is leveled. If they're paying attention, they know I have this, but it might not be on their mind if it's not in play. I think I prefer this build to the build that's currently on my site, Patfrap, and I'm going to update the list on my site after I finish today. This deck will probably be my highlight for tomorrow morning on YouTube, and I'll update the highlight video with that as well. Okay. So, opponent is spinning their tires. Here's an old command. Nah, try refreshing your page. I assume if the overlay was broken, someone else would have said something.
Prepare the cargo! There is no excess when victory is at stake. Darken the skies! Such little light.
What is gained when we return malevolence?
Sweet.
My conflicts end only one way.
How often am I responding to YouTube comments that are questions? As often as they are asked. When I tell you that I read every comment on the YouTube channel, I mean every comment. Yeah, that's exactly right, Skylimits. I firmly believe that if you are a creator, or it's just not even a creator, if you are someone that is creating spaces for people to post things on the internet, you should be obligated to moderate and make sure that those spaces aren't a haven to awful people and awful comments. So not only do I read all of the comments to make sure that I can answer questions to people in my community, but I'm also reading those comments because you're never going to scroll down into the comment sections on my channel and find comments there from days ago that are like people being awful human beings. Darius Draven. So they're an aggro deck. Super happy to keep these three. They're going to mulligan this a little bit on the expensive side. The Legend GR, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Favorite champion, Leona. She's great. The Leona's Daybreak package slots into so many different great shells. Definitely my favorite champion in the game right now. I think is this variance tonight, or is this deck actually fire? I think this deck is very good and very competitive. If you haven't seen this deck before, this is one of the dozen different decks that are up on my website. I keep a list of decks that are always updated. So, for example, we played this one today. I'm going to update it after we finish it today. Not only is there a current deck list up there that is the current deck list that I would play for the Arctic, but also a highlight video of me playing it on YouTube. So you can get a feel for what the deck looks like before you invest your wildcards in it. Now, I do all of that myself, too, Awful. My YouTube is not, my YouTube channel is is much smaller than my Twitch presence. And if my YouTube channel grew to the point where I could no longer manage the comment section personally with auto moderation tools and doing it by hand, it would be making me enough money that I could hire someone to help moderate it easily.
My faith protects me.
Yeah, that was because the person playing that Battle of Wits deck should not have been allowed to play that deck in that tournament. They should have been escorted out. So I'm not gonna attack with this because I don't want to trade this down into their 2/2s, I don't think, but I'm gonna attack these in because if they want to block here with this, I can kill it with Ravenous Flock or Death's Hand, which is good. Honestly, not having to deal with random nonsense like that is one of the biggest upsides to playing digital games versus paper games. I don't remember what happened. It was a long time ago at this point. It's been a while since I played paper card games. And this is, if you go back and look at the set of games we played with this deck tonight, like someone asking, is this variance or is this deck reasonable? This is like the third aggro matchup we played tonight, where it's like, we're passing into their turn 5, and our opponent, we're at 20, right? Like, we're going into turn 5 in the aggro deck, against the aggro deck, and we're still at 20.
Let's do this.
Oh, heretic!
The guilty will bear.
How do you define aggro versus mid-range? Aggro versus mid-range versus control in Runeterra. So those questions are decided by the simple question of who's the beatdown. If you've heard that phrase before, the most elegant way to describe a mid-range deck in a card game is that mid-range decks are the beatdown against control decks, and they're the control deck against aggro decks. And like, this game's been a very good example of that, right? We are definitely the control deck in this matchup, but against the Anivia deck that we played a couple of games ago, we were the beatdown there, right? We had to end the game before they could get to their top end. And that really is what classifies the deck as mid-range. Depending on what matchup you're playing dictates what role you're taking. That was a very, very good flock. And now, our Broadback Protector here, in addition to starting to gain us life back, is going to start triggering Swain, which is excellent. So every turn, this is going to gain us 3 and pump him on up.
What once was 2, now is 1.
Yes, yeah, Jerry. The Daybreak package in general, especially because of the 1 and 2 drop units that it has available to it, are able to play offense and defense simultaneously very, very well.
The hour is mine.
You know, I actually don't want to attack with this one, because then this won't trigger next turn. Yeah, Swain levels off of any non-combat damage, and this hurting itself is not combat damage. Swain is very open-minded. He does not kink shame, and he swings in lots of directions. Alright, come on. Come and get me. Turn 7, I'm at 19. Let's go.
Party's over. War is no game, brother.
Raise your weapons, Sunwood.
Yeah, Swain will level off of their Tomkenshes, their single combat, stuff like that. Alright, so the card we need to be conscious of inside of this combat, if possible, and there's a chance we can't play around it, but Draven's Whirling Death, and actually, actual factual normal Whirling Death is definitely something that they could have access to here. So I definitely want to put this here. I think we want to put this here.
The guilty will bend.
Insolence.
So this works out quite well, assuming they don't have Whirling Death. The problem is they're pretty likely to have Whirling Death here, right? So this doesn't have Overwhelm. I think I'm gonna block there. I guess I could do this.
Insolence.
Yeah, let's do this. I think this plays around Whirling Death best. Whirling Death makes one of their battling things strike one of my things. Just want to, like, not get punked by Draven, basically. Oh, wow! And they got greedy and tried to use it on the goat? Sit down. Definitely should not have tried to get the gem there. Yeah, attempting to level Draven was probably a better line for them. Agree with that. And then they're dead to attack you for 4, drop Leviathan. They'll be dead to the Leviathan trigger. So definitely starting by attacking with this.
Descend upon them.
Why do I need to gain 4? They're gonna die.
Order, sir. Bring forth our army.
Bring forth our armies. I'm on a boat.
My conflicts end only one way.
I like your changes, Nanich. So, like I mentioned a couple of times, the list that is on my website, I believe is, it's at least 3 cards different from this. It's got, okay, pull it up for comparison's sake here. So, no, it's a mid-range deck, not a control deck. Sunny Swain. 1 Hush, 2 Flock. Yeah, looks like it's three cards off. So the list on my site is playing a Dragon's Clutches, Eclipse Dragon, and Oriensol instead of Darius and 2 Captain Pharaon. And I like what these cards were doing a lot. The Oriensol package lets us go a little bit bigger and more controlling, but I think going bigger and more controlling against things like Anivia and the Feel the Rush decks is probably not where we want to be in life. Like I mentioned, the thing that kind of cornerstones a mid-range deck is sometimes you're the beatdown, and Darius and Captain Pharaon here are definitely cards that help us do that in those control matchups, and they felt good at multiple points, especially that game against the Easy Karma deck where we got to invoke the cost reduction and play Captain Pharaon on 7. That was just chef's kiss. It was very, very good. So yeah, I think I'm super happy with what this list is doing. I don't think I'd change anything. I think if you're looking for a sweet mid-range deck to play in the tournament this weekend, I think this is a very reasonable choice. I'm going to update the one on my site card for card to be this here in a little bit after I sign off. You can also find it on my Mobilytics page here. If you're new to the channel, Mulgara, thank you for the brand new follow, along with Rami. I appreciate that. I stream full-time here. I don't always do Runeterra in the evenings. A lot of my evening segments are different turn-based strategy games and single-player variety stuff. I do stream Runeterra stuff 6 days a week, though. Generally speaking, my schedule is Runeterra every single morning from about 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. I also have a YouTube channel where I tag a highlight video every single day up here 7 days a week. I also put the entirety of my Runeterra streams up there. So if you want to easily find different decks with full length segments on them, that's great. Pretty much all of my highlight videos have a see the rest of this games button that I'd encourage you to always click that button. One, because you can watch more of my videos, but two, it is very, very easy for anyone, myself included, to make any deck look reasonable when I'm clipping 2 games of it to make a half-hour video, right? You just can't fit that many games in that short of a time span. And while I do try to only highlight decks that are reasonable, definitely some of the decks that I highlight are a little bit better than others. And watching the full-length segments, if you watch the highlight and it looks good, will give you a better texture for what's the range of it, seeing it for an hour and a half versus just for half an hour. At any rate, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. I'll be back tomorrow morning, approximately 12 hours from now, with 2 more Runeterra decks. This deck, like most of the decks for people that are new to this stream, by the way, if you enjoy the content, a really great way to support my content while also getting something for it for yourself. Most of the decks I play here are viewer submissions, so if you would like me to play one of your decks on stream at some point in the future, for a $10 donation, I would love to get it into my stream queue here on the site, where you can see there's currently about a dozen decks waiting to be played, and I play 2 to 3 decks a day, so it's about a week and a half wait at the current point in time. I am unable to play in the seasonal tournament, so I will not be playing in that this weekend. But there's a fun reason why I can't, though, that I'll be able to share soon. So, all right, I'm gonna find someone to host. Thanks everybody for hanging out through the end.